In a 10, FNAF 3 ending. Which FNAF 3 ending is canon still isn't actually solidified. Most people assume it to be the good ending since it takes more work and we set the souls of the original 5 missing children free, but in reality we don't know which ending really happened in the main timeline. When asked about it in an interview with Daco, Scott Cawthon said that he wasn't going to answer it, since he knows how the community gets with things, and cited the argument over Mangle's gender as a reason why he wouldn't answer. But in my mind that would just be more of a reason to answer it, so that we would stop fighting over which ending is correct, because then we would have a definitive answer. You didn't give us a definitive gender for Mangle, did you? I don't know. But that's a theory for another day. There was also the common 2 eyes theory that aimed to explain that there were 2 souls inside of Golden Freddy, since Golden Freddy had 2 eyes lit in the bad ending of FNAF 3. However, this is also not true, since the character of Crying Child wasn't even introduced yet, and this was planned to be the final game of the series. So why would an animatronic suddenly have 2 souls inside of it in the last game? And the light in the other eye is just because it's bouncing off the inside of the helmet. That's how light works. Other animatronics in that scene also have some light in their other eyes. So basically everything about FNAF 3's ending is still a mystery. In at 9, Vanny's fate. Vanny's fate from one of the most recent endings is also a mystery when you look at it. In the canon ending to Security Breach, the one where we fight against William Afton in the form of Burn Trap, in that ending we actually don't see what happens to Vanny. While yes, Burn Trap might have been dealt with, we don't know if that releases Vanny or if she's still under his control. Plus, we don't know what she's doing while all of this was going down. When there's a canon ending, you expect the main antagonist of the game to be there. So when Freddy and Gregory are sitting on that hill chilling, what comes next for the series? This is a question that I genuinely don't have an answer to, and honestly that I couldn't have an answer to. There are so many possibilities now that it's practically impossible for me to guess, and actually I'm pretty sure that's the point. But what do you think? Do you think Vanny survived, or was she caught in the collapse of Roxy's Raceway among with potentially the rest of the Pizzaplex? Be sure you let me know your thought process and theories in the comments below or on my Instagram, okay? Because I'm genuinely curious. In at 8, possession rules. Possession in the FNAF universe is very interesting. However, it's not something that we fully understand yet. There are a couple things we know, like how agony is one of the most powerful emotions that stretches out further from the body than any other emotion, but we don't really know if agony grabbing hold of something and what we call possession are the same thing. We don't know if when you die, if it's your remaining agony or if it's supposed to be your spirit grabbing on. We also don't really know any other rules, if there are any. We don't know if you need to be close to the thing that you're possessing, assuming that possession and agony are different, since if agony is what we are calling possession, then we would need to be around the thing that we're possessing. It reaches out further from the body than any other emotion, but it doesn't reach out like 5 miles, okay? And we know very little about the rules of possession just in general in the series. And you know what? That's probably going to stay that way. I mean, like, if we knew the rules, it would mean that the series would also be confined to those rules. But by never establishing them to begin with, the games can do whatever they want, and then we can't really question it since they never said that it couldn't happen. It's genius, but it's annoying. And it's 7, tally marks. The security logbook has a load of little things that we don't quite understand. One of which is the various tally marks that we find throughout the book. We find 5 on page 9, 10 on page 19, 14 on page 31, 5 on page 36, and another 5 on page 100. Nobody has really been able to determine what these are meant to mean. Some have theories that it's meant to spell out Crying Child's name and Evan, and then they had to stretch to find the N, but like nobody has really figured it out, okay? The word search doesn't have 100 spaces, alphanumeric ciphers only yield a group of letters, not a word, and nowhere else in the logbook is there something that really relates to these tallies. They're a seemingly totally arbitrary thing that has no impact on the story, but they have to mean something, right? They aren't just there for no reason. They have to be like some sort of answer or code, but nobody has been able to find anything concrete as far as I can tell as of yet. And if this isn't the case, again, excluding the whole Evan thing because that's a stretch, let me know in the comments. But until I can find that, we're here with no explanation. The only thing that I can think of is maybe it represents the amount of victims that William took, since they seem to appear with like the appearance of a new character from a new game. So like the first 5 talking about a new animatronic, and then the next 10 are the first appearance of Balloon Boy in the book, but others appear around the puppet and stuff, so like I don't know. So maybe they're the amount of new victims, but yeah, I'm not sure. And at 6, the STITCHWRAITH. The STITCHWRAITH was a character introduced in the Fazbear Frights book Epilogues, with each installment of the series giving you another chapter of his story. However, we still have yet to see why the character was introduced and if he will be included in future games. It's possible that this was another planned possible antagonist for whoever was taking over next. However, these books started releasing before Scott announced his retirement, from my memory at least, unless he was planning it beforehand. The STITCHWRAITH is a mysterious figure wearing Phineas Taggart's black trench coat. It wears a white mask, later revealed to be the head of the Simon doll. The mask's features are drawn on with a thick black marker. It has 2 eyes, one of which is blackened, originally intended to resemble a black eye on Simon. It sports a toothy grin with a missing tooth, and something appears to be stuck between its front teeth. It also appears to have blood around its mouth, but it's actually meant to be pizza sauce. I doubt it. The rest of the body is an endoskeleton of unknown origin, and in its chest lies Fetch's battery, which was glowing red when it was first activated. But nothing like that seems to have been spotted in the games yet. So, what do you think? Will we see the STITCHWRAITH on screen and not on pages anytime soon, or will he remain someone for the books? Halfway through into number 5, Mrs. Afton. We know little about Mrs. Afton. We don't even really know if there was a Mrs. Afton. We know that William probably had to have some form of woman in his life, assuming his kids are biological and not adopted or kidnapped. But we also have no idea who this woman was, or if she's currently alive. If she died, or maybe she just divorced William or left him. There have been so many rumors or ideas that were started by different FNAF parody songs and animations involving car accidents and the missus walking in on whatever William was doing, but none of these have ever been confirmed. So treating them as fact is a major mistake, okay? There's also no official name yet for Mrs. Afton. Some people call her Clara because of The Immortal and the Restless, the soap opera from Sister Location, since there was a vampire in purple that people compared to William, which for some reason meant that even though William's name's not Vlad, that Clara was 100% the name of his wife, which, I mean, isn't true, okay? Because like Clara Afton doesn't seem to exist, at least yet. And some, including myself, thought that Vanessa from Security Breach could have been revealed to be Mrs. Afton, but doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Or like maybe at least she could have been the baby mama, but again, that's not happening. And at 4, Client 46. Some believe Gregory to be the mysterious Client 46, able to be found in the retro CDs available at the end of Security Breach using Roxy's eyes. However, others suggest that perhaps Client 46 is Vanny, since Vanny is an alternate persona of Vanessa, and Vanessa is the only other client with retro CDs in the game. Client 46 doesn't talk, at least from what we can hear, but is adept at hacking, something we at least before the game came out associated with Vanny. But if Gregory is a robot, or if he's just a genius, the hacking thing can be easily explained. And Vanessa is asked about making her costume, whereas Client 46 is seen talking to someone in a bunny costume, or at very least the costume. And if that was Vanny, why would she be talking to her costume? It just seems weird. The cameras, when they talk though, are also glitching, indicating that the bunny is actually Vanny. There is also the fact that Vanessa leaves in disc 12 or so, and 46 doesn't leave until the end of disc 16. I still think that it's Gregory, but hey, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, right? Unless they share it on a YouTube video, according to some of the comments I've been seeing. But again, it's a mystery that we don't have an answer for. Getting close to the end, in at number 3, the bite of 87. I'm gonna be straight with you. We still don't know who caused the bite of 87, or in reality, who the bite of 87 was on. We have theories. Like, we have a theory that Mangle, Freddy, or Chica bit Jeremy, but theories do not equal fact. This incident has been on our minds since the first game, and we haven't been able to come up with a definitive confirmed answer. If you ask me, that's almost certainly a mystery. It's been 8 years and we still haven't gotten a direct answer. And if anything, we've gotten conflicting answers. We thought it was Mangle because she goes for the top of the head, but then the handprint on Freddy's face seems to indicate that it was him, and then Ultimate Custom Night caused Toy Chica to say, "Where's my beak?" lodged in your forehead, of course, which makes it seem like it was her. We have no real answer despite what you're going to tell me in the comments. That's right, I know that you're all angrily commenting about how it's confirmed canon, but it's not. It's really not. Unless Scott clearly says Mangle caused the bite and the bite was Jeremy, all we have is theories, which means that this is still an unsolved mystery. But ultimately, into number 2, Afton's fate. The true ending of Security Breach is seemingly one of the scariest parts of the game for me, because it contains a load of things that scare me when it comes to the series' lore. One of them being plenty of unanswered questions and unsolved mysteries along with vague endings. After making your way into Burntrap's area, Freddy will be taken over by Afton's newest form. But then it's up to Gregory to defeat him by using 3 monitors and buttons to burn him, one of the lamest boss battles in history. Players will also need to avoid the animatronic enemies that come for Gregory that aren't Burntrap, and then you'll have to use the doors to temporarily lock them out, or you'll have to get inside Freddy and then scare Roxy away. When Springtrap is finally finally burnt for the last time, the blob, which was that whole tentacle monster Rule 34 kind of thing, will attack him, making sure that he doesn't get free. Hopefully. Freddy and Gregory will then be shown escaping and sitting on a hill together. However, if the blob actually does kill William, that's a whole other question, okay? There are death animations in the game files, however, they aren't used in the ending, so we can't count them as canon. Plus, the whole I always come back thing should have ended with this game from what we understood about the series, but he came back nonetheless, so even logical conclusions aren't gonna help us here. God, just please, let William finally be dead, for the love of everything. Please. I think that unfortunately Afton being resurrected or returning in some form or another is inevitable. Like, I don't get why. Like, at this point, we can move on from this killer and have a whole new one, but a load of people seem to think that we need Afton back. And finally, in at number 1, Origins. This is number 1 because I know for a fact that it's going to make plenty of FNAF fans mad. However, we don't know why William Afton started killing. He was planning on killing before his children died, since every single one of his kids died due to his desire to kill others. Elizabeth died because he built the baby murder bot along with the other Funtime murder bots. Crying Child died because he was bit by superpowered Fredbear, and Michael died because he was trying to right his father's wrongs and got burnt alive trying to fix everything. And because his kids died was our only good lead, we have nothing now. In the books, he learns about Remnant and then wants to harness it to become immortal, but he learns this after starting his killing spree. We've made multiple videos about possible William Afton origins, a few of them being wild and crazy like a demon deal gone wrong, and some are more character focused like maybe his wife leaving or dying caused a psychotic break, but all are still equally possible since there isn't much evidence for any theory. They're all just speculation. Because after all, even if it did have evidence, it would just be theories. Just FNAF theories. And yes, that's a reference to MatPat. Every time I say that, people get confused for some reason, okay? I'm referencing MatPat there because he says it's just a theory, a game theory, at the end of every game theory episode, okay? I'm not stealing it from him. I'm not doing anything shady. It's a reference. Everyone knows what I'm doing, okay? So just chill. In at 10, Burn Trap. Is Burn Trap dead or alive? That's actually a good question in this case, since I don't know if Afton is alive inside the Burn Trap suit or not. He was alive in the Spring Trap and Scrap Trap suits, as we learned from the man in room 1280, because he was possessed by the one you should not have killed. But did he finally get put down after the FNAF 6 fire, or is he still kicking? His body is still present inside the Burn Trap suit, or at least it partially is. So like, what's the consensus here? I don't know. The existence of Glitch Trap seems to imply that he's dead in the suit, but Ultimate Custom Night suggests that the one you should not have killed is still possessing him, which would be what he sees in the recharge station, which would mean that he's still alive, not because of the recharge station, but because the one you should not have killed would still be possessing him, which they would only do if he was still alive. Since if we're being honest, the only reason Afton is possessed is so that he can't suffer, so being possessed after he's dead isn't really gonna do anything. And the one you should not have killed would not be controlling Burn Trap to take over Freddy and turn things evil. It goes against what we know about the character. So what's the deal here? I don't know. In at 9, Relationship. Gregory, our player character in the game, is certainly a mysterious kid, and Vanessa, the night security guard who's also Vanny, is just as confusing, but at least we know more about her story, being our player character from FNAF VR. But what the most mysterious thing about this game is the relationship between Gregory and Vanessa. Like, what the absolute living hell is up with these two? Vanessa spends the whole game trying to lock Gregory in the security room, and then Vanny, her other personality, comes to try to kill us, and she actually ends up doing it in the worst ending. But then, after curing her in the Princess Quest ending, we don't even ask questions. We just go and get ice cream with her on a hill. Like, what? MatPat seems to have solved this one though, saying that Gregory is following Vanessa in order to make sure that nobody gets too close to the truth about Glitch Trap possessing her, but then he also admits that there are some holes to this theory. But if I'm honest, this is the first time I've agreed with MatPat in a while. He was mostly talking about like smaller things such as endoskeletons or the main character of Princess Quest, and those I didn't agree with, but this is a good explanation as to why Gregory is protective over Vanessa. It also explains why he's such a criminal. He's just a bad robot person. And it ain't Glitch Trap. Honestly, again, I'm still confused as to how Glitch Trap and Burn Trap could exist at the same time. Like, yes, we've seen people pour their agony into things while remaining alive before. Henry and the Ella doll from the novels and Fazbear Frights, for instance. However, nothing like that has seemed to happen in the games. And as many of you are adamant to make clear, the games and books are in different universes. But still going by my rules of they help clarify things that are possible in the other universe, William was seemingly not in enough agony to pass it on to something like a hard drive that would then get scanned unless he died, since the one you should not have killed was holding onto his soul. And unless some sicko ended up moving his body to a new animatronic endo after it was destroyed, There should be no way that this guy should still be able to be kicking, and yet also have a sentient code version of himself running around in Vanny's head. Okay, given the rules that have been established in this universe, that's seemingly impossible. I mean, I'll look into it more and maybe have a theory about it tomorrow, but I don't know. And at 7, Arcade Conspiracy. The Arcade Conspiracy gets its name from one of the duffel bags that you can find where we learn that something else seems to be going on in the Pizzaplex. Of course, because you know, it can't just be one story. Quote from the Arcade Conspiracy: note, exit interview. They are working together, the arcades. They are hiding something. The glitches. Glitch them all at the same time. Then the princess will recognize me. She's testing me. I am not yet worthy. The others are protecting it. Let me stay. I am so close. Just one more night, please. I can save the princess. Now, it's clear that this seems to be referring to the Princess Quest games. However, it doesn't seem like we have to glitch those in order to win them. We just need to beat them in order from 1 to 3, and then boom, we save Vanny. So what could this actually mean? Well, there are 3 other arcade machines that seem to be having mysterious glitches as well. The Balloon Boy World game that you can find in the theater, the Chica's Feeding Frenzy, which won't turn off even when unplugged, that you're supposed to be able to find in the bakery, and the Monty Golf A Arcade that, according to its duffel bag, shouldn't be in the mini golf area, but is. However, while you can play both Balloon Boy World and the Monty's Golf game, which I got a 14 as my lowest or technically highest score, when the best you can do is 13, so. Chica's Feeding Frenzy isn't an arcade cabinet. It's not in the game yet. You can only access it using a mod that lets you cheat it in from the main menu. So I feel like this was an intentional feature that was left on the cutting room floor, but it's still a mystery. And at 6, what's next? One of the biggest mysteries from this game, and any FNAF game really, is what comes next. But with this game more so than any other FNAF game, because well, anything can happen now. We can go anywhere and do anything. I think more will be revealed with the new Fazbear Frights series when it gets started, called Tales from the Pizzaplex, but until the first one releases on July 19th, we got nothing. The Blob could be the next major villain, or Vanny could be, and hell, even after Matt Pat pointed out what could really be going on now, even Gregory could be the next major villain. Like, I always knew the kid was evil, but still, oh well. We can move on to a new location, we can go back to an old one, or we can see the aftermath of the Pizzaplex cave-in under Roxy's Raceway. We can go back to the normal FNAF formula, or maybe move on to more story-based games like this one. The series can go literally anywhere, especially with someone new taking over. But I felt that it was cheaty to put this at number 1, so I'm gonna put it at number 6. Halfway through into number 5, Client 46. Some believe Gregory to be the mysterious Client 46, able to be found in the retro CDs available at the end of the game using Roxy's eyes. However, others suggest that perhaps this Client 46 is Vanny, since Vanny is an alternate persona of Vanessa, and Vanessa is the only other client with retro CDs in the game. Client 46 doesn't talk, but is adept at hacking, something that at least before the game came out we associated with Vanny. But if Gregory is a robot, the hacking thing is easily explained away. And Vanessa is asked about her making a costume, whereas Client 46 is seen talking with someone in a bunny costume, or at the very least the costume itself, but the cameras when they are talking are glitching out, indicating that the bunny is Vanny, so it would be Vanessa inside the suit. There's also the fact that Vanessa leaves therapy in disc 12 or so, and then Client 46 doesn't leave until disc 16. I still think it's Gregory, but hey, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, right? Unless they share it in a YouTube video, apparently, according to the comments. And at 4, Vanessa. Now we know that Vanessa is working the security guard job because William needed her at the Pizzaplex in a position of power. But she doesn't seem to know about this, and who is this higher up that needed her at the job so badly? Well, considering that Gregory is an excellent hacker and seemingly a robot as well, MatPat is under the impression that it was him who recommended her. But then again, how did she get the job when so many people didn't want her to have it? The hiring manager for the Pizzaplex commented on her lack of experience and how she didn't seem like she was up for the job, but then she gets it anyway? Like, does that mean that this employee was killed, or did someone just pull rank? And if they did pull rank, does that mean that it was actually someone at the company who's still working for Afton, or is Gregory just really this manipulative? Because like, at that point, yeah, I feel like if you're pulling rank, you have to be present, you know? You can't pull rank over an email. That doesn't seem like it would work. I mean, like, Gregory is certainly willing to kill without a moment's hesitation, like we see in the Phaser Blast ending, but like, does that mean that he's done it before, or was he just desperate? He might be the one killing the therapists too. Getting close to the end, and in number 3, Crying Child. Now the possibility of Gregory being a robot is high. There is a good chance that he's not just a mere mortal. However, there is also the possibility that Gregory is not only a robot, but a robot crying child, rebuilt by his father in an effort to correct his mistake, since he is the one who superpowered the jaw that killed his son. There are multiple similarities between the two characters as well, like the design choice of a two-striped shirt with shorts, as well as the constant whining from Gregory, which could be a reference to the crying child, who's crying so much that it's literally his nickname. There's also the whole crying child and Big Brother Michael dynamic that we have between Gregory and Glamrock Freddy, not to mention the best ending screen where Gregory and Vanessa are eating ice cream, and Gregory has a Fredbear popsicle literally with a bite taken out of the head. I mean, like, that's as direct as this game gets, right? Aside from when Glamrock Freddy said Vanny's name is a combination of Vanessa and Bunny. That was also very direct. Thank you for that, Scott. Penultimately, in at number 2, Bonnie. At this point, it's pretty well known and thoroughly believed that Bonnie's disappearance from the Pizzaplex is Monty's fault, considering how his last known location was at Monty's Golf. However, while we're pretty sure it's him, all the evidence is really circumstantial, and with a series like FNAF, we can never really be sure of anything, lest we get surprised by a post-it note we missed that actually references the fact that Roxy and Bonnie were dating and Roxy got jealous. Something like that is honestly not unexpected. I firmly believe that there are at least a few curveballs that we have yet to find because they weren't added in the initial release or they're planned to be released with the DLC. But currently, the mystery of Bonnie's disappearance is set on Monty being the one who dismantled him, possibly so that Afton could be transferred into his endoskeleton, but I'm still unsure about that theory, but like I said, the next theory should be about that. And finally, in at number 1, Vanny's ending. In the canon endings to the game, the one where we fight against William Afton in the form of Burn Trap, that ending, we don't see what happens to Vanny. Well, yes, Burn Trap might have been dealt with. We don't know if that releases Vanny or if she's still under his control. Plus, we don't know what she's doing while all this goes down. When there's a canon ending, like, you kind of expect the main antagonist of the game that you've actually seen a couple times throughout the game to be there, right? So when Freddy and Gregory are sitting on that hill chilling, what comes next? And like I said, this is a question that I genuinely don't have an answer for. There are so many possibilities that it's practically impossible to guess. And I think at this point, we shouldn't even try, because whatever we guess, Scott or whoever comes next is just gonna be like, see that? Let's not do that, and let's do something completely different. We don't know what happened to Vanny. If we all guess that she's alive, she's gonna end up dead. If we all guess that she's dead, she's gonna end up alive. There's no winning here, because Scott is the ultimate internet troll, and even if he doesn't know who I am, he's still trolling me.